Okay. Today, planning on keeping it pretty fast and simple. Not too much going on with it. I was going to do a couple attempts at some blockhead faces. Maybe some on printer paper, some on... Hello, Chameleon? Leon? I don't know how your name goes, but hello. I am going to loop some traces, or actually this time I'm going to just do some faces. Start a little late, and going to try and make this a little bit shorter overall. Hello, M. Mishurina Skaya. Hello, Albie. Today, keeping it a little bit shorter with things. I was going to try and draw some larger faces and see how that goes. But not planning on doing as long of a thing. Hello, Dominic Vaughn. Let's do that on regular printed paper. Hello, Art Kill. Just see about making a big dude. Perhaps a bit more dry brush elements. Brianna Taylor is her name. Hello, Jim Pluck. Do I have any larger brushes right here? I don't think I do. Just gonna make do with this guy. It's gonna take a minute to fill in the top section. Thank you, Article. This will take a minute to fill in this space. I'm going to try doing this at a quarter size. This is pointing a little low. Let's angle this up a bit. That's better. Let's make one that's a quarter the size. let's scale down another. Quarter of that. Another quarter. Oh, I do have a straight edge I can tear against. Make it a little bit nicer. I don't think that I can use the width of this brush. To do the outline. See if I can get one smaller. Might have to switch brushes if I'm actually going to do this. And scanning this will take time. Okay. That's today's thing, making things smaller. These are all the same aspect ratio. Now I can do this with a smaller brush, so I think I have to switch over. Just a different shaped brush. It's not terribly smaller, but it is a round brush as opposed to a angled or a chisel. Angular shader is what that other one is called. Hello, Ivan in Russia. I might be able to go one smaller than this. Thank you, Ivan. I don't know how to say thank you in Russian. I know how to say it in German. Danke. I know how to say it in Danish. Tak. Merci. French. Gracias. Spanish. My day's been fine. It's nice weather outside today. It's starting to feel a little bit more like fall, like autumnal weather. It was chilly this morning, but when the sun came out, the weather got a lot more pleasant to be in. Leaves are starting to change a little bit, but not too much. I might go at this with a knife. I don't think I'm going to be able to rip this successfully. Maybe. Let's try it. I got extra paper I can mess with. It's less about getting the paper and more about my ability to hold on. How'd that go? A little bit loose, but small enough for me to judge where it needed or was supposed to be torn. Yeah, that guy's in frame. Hello, Nitish. I don't know if I can hold this in place while working. This is as small as I'll be able to go. And still have it scan at an okay resolution. It's warped a little bit. 1, 2. Trying to convey the size differences. These are each a quarter of the size, so they maintain the same aspect ratio. I'm going to scan these guys. And then probably head out, trying to be faster for today's thing. Any thoughts, questions, concerns, interests? while I'm scanning some things. This one, you can do this one at, originally I'm from North Carolina, grew up around the South. 1, 2, 1008. Full scanner bed, 600 DPI, scan. Right now, for how I have things set up, I'm just doing something faster today. And I'm in my late 20s. Half sizes, if you rip it directly in half, it won't keep the same aspect ratio because you're only cutting half of it. So like if you had a square and you just took half the square, you would have one side that's twice as long as the other side. That might be. I think that's a half size. It's not the same ratio if you do directly in half. You could, so this is a quarter size. If it was 50%, it would be, I think, 75% of either direction. But because I didn't want to measure anything, much easier to just rip it in half twice. Oop, don't need that. I wanted to adjust the size of this. And this guy will be 1200 DPI. So if you were to, once this finishes scanning, I'll try and do. I would need to get scissors or something, and I don't have scissors with me right now. And if I go smaller than this, my scanner won't scan at a high enough resolution to make it so I could print it at any sort of decent size. Part of it's the capability of my scanner. This I can get to, let's see, it'll be a very slow scanning process, but if it's 600, then it's 4 times the size. Now this is gonna get slower. How large is this guy? That's millimeter. Inches. This guy is just about a 1/4 inch. Which means if I were to scan it at 600 DPI, I could then print it at about 1/2 inch by 1 inch. If I did it by 1200 DPI, I could get it about inch by inch. If I do it 2400 DPI, then I can do it 2 by 2 or 2 by 4. And then if I do it 4800 DPI, that should be about 4. I could scan this and print it at full resolution at about 4 inches by 8 inches. even though it's very small. But in order to have a full size like print image, I have to, if I were to go half this size, then I'd only be able to get up to like 2 inches print size for full. Let's see, that's times 2, 4, 8, 12. Let's just do it full 4,800. Hello, Mocha. Sorry if you just joined in on scanning, which it's not exciting to see. Scan that guy. It's just going to be what you're seeing. And they're not perfectly aligned because I didn't measure out where the sort of brow line goes across and such. This is just me experimenting a bit, but I'll show something in a minute once this, well, the final one gets scanned in. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? One more tiny guy to scan. Right side up. Yep. Overview scan. This also takes a little bit longer because I have to do overview scans between each scan to save me like 20 minutes worth of time. Scan that little guy. Yeah, everybody's watching. Almost a dozen people are watching me scan. Fewer people now. Okay. This tiny guy out of here. And see what I got. There. Let's Photoshop up. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Let's get a new one that's just 1080, 1350. One. Now I need two. Three. Four. 0. This guy. Make this a little bit larger. Background. Nope, I need a background. Frame animation. Make frames from layers. This guy. Make this. Reverse this guy. Change the background for all of these. Pull this color. Oop. And then get the curves going over all of this. Making this a bit darker in general. It's 1080 again. This guy going for all these. And have this go a little bit slower, 0.12. Let me see if this has an animated GIF. Hello. I'm planning on animating it. That's what I'm throwing out now. It's like a test deal. Adaptive pattern, make this absolute black. Save this out. Just throwing it to Live Designs. Thanks for being patient. Aspect. Show it in a sec. Okay, now I got it. Image. Okay. Browse. Live Designs. Turn. There you go. I'm just sort of playing with the scale and texture, cleanliness, line weight. Yep, I've been messing with scale a bit, of how larger things, if you draw the same thing at multiple scales, then you'll get some deterioration for the amount of detail and consistency. This one I also wanted to show the impact of the grain of the paper at different scale. So the smaller you get, the more imperfections become an integral part of the final textural quality of whatever you're working with. Not sure how I'll put this on a shirt, but plan on putting it on a shirt soon. Don't have any other plans to do stuff right now. This was just trying to do something a little bit faster, and it ended up taking a little bit longer than I thought. But anyway, any questions, thoughts, concerns? If I were to go any smaller than this, I wouldn't be able to have it at like a full. And this guy. If I went smaller than this guy, my scanner and most scanners. Yeah, I think that having that texture is nice. You'd still have some texture if I had used a knife, but not nearly as much. Not as much character with the texture. I am curious. I switched brushes, but like if I were to have started not with a chisel brush, but with a thin round guy, if I would have had a more consistent variation where the thickness of the brush maintained. But anyway, if you guys don't have questions or concerns or anything, I'll probably head out. Treat this one as a little bit shorter and start a little later and a little bit later or earlier. Thoughts, concerns, comments? Give you guys like a minute. Thank you, Kitchcub. Make this guy a little bit smaller so you can see the variances. Thank you, Kitch Club. See you later, Elizabeth. Most of the inconsistencies I clear out just by darkening it. Because let me show you what this would look like if I didn't have. First off, this is going to be a larger file because it'll have more texture. It's okay. Let's undo this guy. Alright, save this out. Sometimes I clean up some inconsistencies, but with animation it's not as necessary thing. So let's get another image. Just gonna grab this second version. So in this situation, they're not playing back at the same time, but you can see that there's a lot more texture in the paint, in the ink, because it's blown out a little bit on the scanner, and I like having it as dark as possible while still having a little bit of texture. But the shadows aren't as contrasted. I just know when I work with this that I'm almost always going to darken it digitally, but that's most of the work that I do, and that cleans up a lot of the inconsistencies that you have. And something like here, you can see the overlap and stuff. The larger you work, the more you're likely to have those sorts of textures. And when you're scanning, there's a lot of white light on it. I've been doing live every day at 3 for the past 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. I'm trying to do it every day, and then create t-shirt designs that I put on my website and then have those available for 2 weeks. And I'm using a print fulfillment service that I don't have a minimum order, so I can do just a bunch of designs. And then if you like it, you can grab it. If you don't, I don't lose, I lose a potential sale, but I don't lose money invested into the supplies and such. I'm trying to talk about the fact that I do lives daily, but not overwhelm people who do participate in it. Just have it serve as something of a reminder, and then consistency. I also haven't been promoting it as hard in my permanent bio and stuff like that, because I didn't want to start into it, find that it does not work for me for whatever reason, and then have to backpedal. I wanted to establish enough time to where I felt comfortable committing to it. You can see the highlight change. I like a higher contrast. Cool. If you look traceloops.com/store, if you look at my feed and you see something recently that you like, there's probably some interpolation of a shirt design that's come from those. Tap and then pull through. And they're also only available for 2 weeks, both as an incentive to have people involved in it and have some sense of urgency or relating to the live sort of pacing of things, but also because I don't want to have 30 plus designs of shirts that can be overwhelming in my store, both for scrolling through and just variety. I do repeat some aesthetics pretty often and some concepts, and I don't want to have 5 versions of highly similar. There are some where I sort of go in a spurt and then you have your choice, but I don't want to be too many options because at that point it just becomes for me, I would either want to buy too many and become overwhelmed and have trouble choosing one, or I would just be there's no reason for me, there's no sense of urgency or scarcity and have any sort of the feeling like that. But I'm also concerned that some people would feel oh, he'll just make another one, maybe I'll like that one more, and be worried about that. T-shirts are $23 US. If you're international, direct message me and I can figure out what price point it'll be. For Europe, it's a few dollars more. It's closer to it depends where you are because there are different taxes and such. If it was purely the cost of shipping and the item, then it would be $1 more. But I realized when I fulfilled the shirt for Germany that the taxes ate up another $3, and then processing fees for having stuff transferred to my bank eat about another $1. So it's got to go a little bit up to make it so I make $5 on a shirt. But it's still cheaper than when I'm producing the shirts myself because I don't have to. There's less overhead and just work, labor involved on my end. But I need to jump off. Thank you for watching, and I will plan on being back tomorrow. I'm just going to sign off. If you have questions, you can direct message me or something. But thank you all for watching. Also, if you want to watch any previous live streams after I finish these, I take the saved file and upload it to YouTube. You can look for like Instagram Live TraceLoops and it'll pop up. If you search TraceLoops, it should generally pop up. That's my channel name and such. But yeah, so I'm gonna head out. Thanks, and I'll have a shirt design up in the next hour or so. Okay, bye. It'll give a second while it's disconnecting.